When you look back on your life, there are often very specific moments that really do change the course of your life forever. And the temptation when you create content online about how to improve your life is to share a bunch of these little hacks, these little habit hacks that change little things, but don't really change your life in a big way. But in this video, I want to share 5 life philosophy changes that really did change the course my life went in every day after that point. Hey guys, Alex Hine, author of the personal development book, Master the Day. So I've included below this video, the first link is for a free goal setting worksheet to plan out how to have your best year ever of your life and then actually make that happen. You can check it out, the first link below this video. Now, a couple months back, I downloaded a dating app called Hinge. And I was in New York City visiting friends and going out, and I was talking to this girl on the app. So she said that she came to New York City, she moved there because she was living in LA and she went through this horrible breakup. It just decimated her life and she really just wanted to get away from it all and move to New York and start her life over again. It's funny how often I've heard that version of that exact story in New York or in LA, and it's very reminiscent of my own experience booking a one-way ticket to China because I knew many expats in that community, people that had moved from all the various parts of planet Earth. And some of them said almost the exact same things, word for word. You know, people would say things like, I just wanted to get away from the rat race. People would say things like, I just want to get away from the hustle and bustle and the grind. Or that I don't want to sit there and have to pay this mortgage for my 2.5 kids and my white picket fence lifestyle. But the crazy thing in all of these situations is that people are talking about, to me, what they were running away from, but not what they were running towards. And I think this is a very, very subtle but hugely important distinction. Because when you run away from something, first of all, you're making your decisions out of fear. Almost like your decisions are these little gremlins running after you, trying to haunt you. And you're being driven by a negative emotion primarily. You're being driven by your mom and dad. They want you to be a doctor. You don't. You want to travel Thailand. So you're like, screw you, mom and dad, and you take off. Well, that produces negative emotions along with your decision. And myself, having been a 20-something and having coached hundreds of 20-somethings one-on-one, I've seen that these decisions where you're running away from something often end up being problematic later because you weren't running towards an ideal dream or an ideal outcome. You just wanted to get away from something. You're trying to run into the whole world just to get away from the scary monster. Now that is a completely different feeling from running towards something you love. Running away is usually driven by fear and regret. Running towards is usually driven by excitement and by love. And you often won't regret that. The second decision for me that changed my life was to always try my best to make the brave decision and not the easy decision. Now, I've talked about this here a lot because it would be impossible for me not to talk about it. And one of the stories that really summed this up was this one night I was out getting a glass of wine and dinner with one of my high school friends. And while we were talking, he was mentioning that he was finally feeling ready to settle down a bit. And he was ready to start a family and just feel more stable and have a girl in his life. As he was saying that, he was eyeing this Brazilian girl across the room. And he kind of loosely knew her and he knew some of her friends. She was out there talking with her friends and smiling and having fun. And he was telling me about how he just wished he had the guts to go talk to her. He had just built up all this rejection and all these associations with his negative past experiences dating or trying to date. But eventually we got to talking and he ended up just talking to the girl as awkward, as uncomfortable, as sweaty as it was. And guess what? 2 years later, they ended up getting married. So there are these decisions that we want to make in our lives that are both exciting and both really, really scary. And asking someone out that intimidates you is one example of that. But this could be in any decision of your life. It could be the decision to live in a much uglier home or apartment so that you can save a lot of money or that you can help your parents. It can be the decision to book the one-way ticket to China like I did, because that's the dream and you would regret that on your deathbed if you didn't do that. It could be going after the passion project when your parents want you to become the doctor, or it could be writing the book when no one believes in you and everybody's criticizing you because they don't think you have what it takes. Whatever it is, the more you can make the brave decision and not the fearful one, the faster your life will become amazing. The third general philosophical decision that helped my life was the decision to just get 1% better. Because look, there are things that you want to go after in life that are difficult goals. There are things that you want to achieve, but something happens to you. Maybe you get rejected or dumped by the person you think is your soulmate. Maybe you don't get into medical school and that was your whole life plan. No other goal. It was get into this professional program and that's going to be my saving grace, my golden ticket. And it doesn't work out. Or maybe it is something happens with your family and that was your whole purpose in life. That was everything you wanted and something happened to them. Or maybe it's illness or disease. And that is the thing that changes the direction of your life forever because it's dictated how you have to live now. In all of these things that happen to us, the only thing we can keep in mind is that I'm just gonna do essentially the best I can. And you can do everything right in life and you can be a good person, a virtuous person who treats people well, and bad things can still happen to you. It doesn't mean you're immune from the trials and tribulations of life or even death. So what do you do? For me, in these situations where I literally feel like I've been on my knees crawling, just trying to get through another day, or even so ill that I don't even know where I'm gonna be a year from now, it's in those situations where I reminded myself that all I'm gonna do is try to become 1% better. And on some days, the 1% better just means I'm gonna show up to my job today. On other days, 1% better means I'm gonna spend 20 less minutes in bed and I'm just gonna go outside and go for a walk around the neighborhood. In other situations, the 1% better may mean even though I wanna go lay down in my bedroom all day and I just wanna go into this cave and never come out of it, the 1% better in that sense may actually just be, I'm just gonna leave my house today. So it's whatever you can actually control in the smallest sense of the word. That's the main thing to choose and to work on when everything kind of feels like it's falling in around you. The fourth thing that I realized as I got older, especially as an entrepreneur, is that you don't get paid and rewarded for hard work in life, just for the results that you end up generating. So there can be this weird kind of resentment that develops when you think that because you worked harder than everyone else and you were more of the virtuous person, that you somehow deserve life to be easier or all your goals to be reached or to get into your dream program, or because you're a nice guy, you expect that girl to like you. All of these things are really divorced from reality, which is that nobody cares if it took you 3 hours a day in the gym to be healthy or 20 minutes a day. Nobody cares if it took you 12 hours a day to turn your passion project into your living or 1 hour a week. And no one cares if it takes you crazy amounts of time and effort and reading books and going to therapy to be a great person in a relationship, or if it's more effortless. Because at the end of the day, you want that outcome, right? Like you want to be healthy and be fit. You want to maybe write that book or start that business, or you want to have that great relationship. So at the end of the day, what matters is that you're able to figure out what that takes for you. And if you're strategic enough and smart enough and have the resources enough that you can do it with 1/10 the time, then good on you. Good for you. You're not going to get an award going into heaven for you put in the hardest work more than anybody else. You're going to get the award for did you do your best and did it end up working for you or not? And sometimes it still won't. But not taking pride in doing the hard work just for hard work. Try to be smart about reaching your goals and kind of the life that you want. Now, the fifth big philosophical change that really helped my life was that being holistically successful in life is really about this dance between hard work and discipline, pushing, and the ability to let go and surrender and just let things take their course sometimes. Because there is going to be a time in your life where no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how much work you do, that person just won't love you back. There's going to be a time where no matter how much effort you've put in, how much work you've put in, the best grades, the best scores, the best extracurriculars, you don't get into that first choice school or the second choice or the third, or you don't get that job or any job. There's going to be a time in life where no matter what you do, somebody that you love is going to die or be sick. And in those moments, pushing harder will not work. You've met the immovable object. And in those times, you're going to have to learn there is a time to push and there's a time to let go. And you're going to have to use your own judgment as to, is this a situation where I keep on fighting? Or is this a situation where it's time for me to let go and maybe get some distance from the problem and see how I can solve it a different way. Because if you take pride in the hustle, you're going to be very disappointed when you start feeling stressed and unwell because you can't solve that problem. But those problems are going to come up plenty in life where you can't strong arm it. You have to let go. And sometimes per situation, you're not going to know what strategy works or what strategy is even going to be the ideal strategy to do that. You're going to have to use your own judgment. Now, these 5 things have made a really big difference in the trajectory of my life because they're big philosophical changes. They're not specific habits. They're ways you view life in the very, very, very long game. So for me, it's in those situations I learned that I had to keep learning and improving myself and figuring out how to get 1% better at living life. Now, one of the amazing resources I've used in this process has been Skillshare. So this episode is sponsored by Skillshare, and it's an amazing online learning platform that can help you learn the skills and tools to have that holistically successful life. Now, if you're addicted to learning like me, and you like reading and learning new things to help you improve your life, check out all of the online learning communities and programs that Skillshare has, with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people on topics like illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing, and more. So take, for example, this course called DIY Filming that I went through. It really helped me, number one, figure out how to really storyboard my video in a much more strategic way versus just being a teacher, as well as how to properly prep a short but sweet kind of highlight reel, as well as edit it, put it together, and really polish it to be a much, much better presented piece of content. So Skillshare has classes to fit your schedule and your skill level. Members get unlimited access to thousands of these different kinds of classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a community of millions of people. Now, the classes are usually under an hour, and they have short lessons to help you fit any schedule. But I would definitely go ahead and check out some of the topics that you might like. Like, for example, there are courses on journaling and design. There are courses on the fundamentals of DIY photography, or even cinematography and low-budget filmmaking. You can even learn how to make your creative side gig your full-time job. And for a lot of these online ways to learn, for less than $10 a month, you can have access to all of these in an unlimited amount. So check out the first link in the description because the first 1,000 people to use the link in my bio will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. So you guys can check it out right below this video. The first will get that bonus there.